Recording now?
Yeah, but I'm going to edit most of this right here.
Okay.
There's no reason. No one needs this.
Is this thing on? Is this thing on?
Check.
There was so much like, I've been wanting to do this that came out of that.
One, two, three, four. Yeah.
That might end up being in the intro, just so you know.
That's the fun part. The laughs.
So it's always episode such and such number, and then I give it a title, and then featuring whoever the guests are. The title of this one's just going to be...
Hey, the laughs are the best part. I love it.
Let me know when that one comes out.
Hey,
I got my bull.
Welcome back to the Roadkill Podcast. My name is Laurel. I'm your host tonight. We're being rejoined by Mr. Blake Free, Mr. Hobie, Gary.
Hobie,
there we go. And the beautiful Miss Nita. Welcome to the show, guys.
Welcome.
So, you guys are new to the show. Blake's been on with us before, and since the last time you've been on, we've done the listening room.
Yeah.
How was that?
The listening room was freaking fantastic. It was one of the coolest gigs I've ever done in my life, just because for the simple fact of it was a dedicated audience and they were listening to my music. They were listening to my stuff. For the most part, I did some covers at the end, but like for most of the night it was all my stuff, and I had a lot of my family there, and Nita and Gary were there, and like all my friends, and it was super cool. I loved it. Loved every minute of it. It was super fun.
Yeah, you don't have to say that just because I'm sitting here.
I'm not.
Right? You can be honest.
I'm not.
It was a shitty show.
Fuck Laurel, by the way.
Where's the crowd?
That was a fun crowd, dude. Like, you had everybody going through everything.
Yeah.
I don't think there was a dry eye in the house when
Yeah.
you told the story behind the reason.
Yeah.
My wife still gets... I had to make sure that story stayed in, even in the online album,
Yeah.
the audio album.
Yeah.
Because my wife still says that's my favorite just because there's so much meaning behind it. I was like, it's a gravitas song.
You can listen to that on Spotify, iTunes, and all those places, by the way, all your streaming sites. You can listen to that album, The Listening Room, Blake Free, on all your favorite...
Plug it!
Baby, plug it.
Shameless plug.
I listen to it all the time. You sure?
Oh, yeah.
My son's obsessed with it. He loves Lady Luna. C'est La Vie is probably his favorite one, and Honey. Honey is like his song. Every time he sees it, he goes, "That's my song." I'm like, technically it's Blake's.
Didn't he call
It's
me?
on regular rotation at my house.
Yeah.
Yes.
Regular rotation.
He can tell you
Oh, yeah.
all
Yeah.
the time.
And Blake is very nice and goes, "Oh, you did such a good job recording that." I'm like, "I just pushed record, dude. You fucking did that."
That's
shit.
right. That's
You
right.
spent the years, time, and effort like mastering your craft and writing those songs, and then honing them in so well that you could play them so passionately and comfortably. Like that's where the real art is, and that's why that sounds so
It was
good.
very... also, the thing I liked about it, it was so stripped down.
Mm-hmm.
And it was all... You're basically getting... You're not getting any of the...
You're getting it raw.
You're getting it raw. Exactly. That's what I'm trying to say. You're getting it. You're getting the raw parts of me and my process. Because that was the fun thing about it. I could talk about the process. Because some people ask me, "How do you write songs like that? How do you do this? How do you do that?" So I was in that show. I was sort of kind of trying to go about it in a way that was like you kind of can see inside my head, and that's why I think that's such a great thing. And I hope that the ones after, that. When we finally get to another one, because I know you've had so many different
storms have ruined the past couple of them. Yeah,
scheduling issues and everything else. So I know you're antsy to do another one. I think we got another one going tomorrow, right?
Yeah, we got Dan Signor is doing
musician.
one tomorrow. Later on in December, of course, this will air long after these guys have performed.
Yeah.
We've got
Jim Stafford.
Jim Stafford's doing one. He basically saw yours and got jealous. He was like, "I want to do that."
Yeah.
I will say that to your face, Jim.
That's right, Jim. That's right, Jim.
But Jim,
I definitely want to be there for that one.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
well,
Get
We have a
tickets.
lot-
They're selling out.
Yeah.
We're all
fast.
coming.
Yeah.
I think we're all
Yeah,
coming.
Jim we have a lot of nice things to say about him, and he has a lot of nice things to say about them.
Yeah. Well, Jim and his wife Kelly, they're such nice people.
They are.
They came and did the live show podcast with us, and my favorite thing was when sorry Kelly, I'm gonna have to say this. when Kelly was just kind of like, you need to get off stage. We need to move on with the show. And he just kind of went, no, and kept playing. And just
He was like looking at her while
he was just like, you're not going to tell me what to do.
He was looking at her. He was strumming the guitar.
I couldn't help but just kind of go, married life. Sorry, honey.
Me and Melissa were talking the same thing. I said, listen, when I get 80, you're going to be that guy. You're going to be Kelly up there going, okay, baby, it's time to go home. You're like, nope, I'm still playing.
I'm not done yet. I'm not done.
Oh my god, it was so funny. The best part was she was like, you don't need to mic the guitar. And he's like, what? And moves the mic down anyway.
But I'm going to anyway.
I do. The stubbornness. I mean, speaking as a married man, I'm like, I know that stubbornnness.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're about to get married too.
Yes, I am.
There's this level of just kind of like, you're not my boss. I don't know what I want. And I don't know why.
You'll
It's
see
something.
that
It's something
later.
about being a husband, I guess. I don't know why. You just get this innate urge. Like, you're not going to tell me what to do.
Oh, but at first you can tell me everything to do. But then after you get married, you're not telling me what to do.
Yeah, don't tell me what to do.
That's true. I will give you that. I will give you. I
And then
remember.
sometimes you're walking away, you gotta say it under your breath. Don't tell me what to do.
There was a comedian who was
Because
talking
you won't
about.
tell us.
There was a comedian I saw talking about that. And he goes, as you get older,
While
you
you're
learn to
doing
not
it.
pick fights, but you still say stuff. You can tell someone's been married for a long time because the husband will be walking 10 steps behind his wife and he's like, "You're not doing it. I'm not doing it. You're not doing it." And you say it underneath your breath. And if she overhears part of it, she's like, "What'd you say?" "I didn't say nothing."
Exactly. While he's doing the chore.
Yeah. I didn't say nothing.
Whatever you say, baby. Okay, whatever you say. Yeah. The older
See,
you get,
women
the
do
smarter
run
you
the
get.
world. They do. They say they don't, but they do.
Yeah.
They do.
We do it all.
Look, it's anyways. Well, let's get back on track here. So the listening room. Not only do we get the live album out of it, we have a full hour and 20-minute film,
I know, it's pretty cool.
and we're going to be debuting that at the end of December here. We're just locking down some of the minor details involved, but we're gonna have a potluck party. I think it's
Oh
gonna be
man, it's
fun.
gonna be awesome. We're
Super
gonna.
fun.
Everybody's gonna come. Everybody's gonna bring their own dish. We're gonna feature it at an awesome location.
Yeah, we're still
Thanks
working
to
on,
you
we're still working
with
on the
the
details on
awesome
some of the
thing.
location right now.
Yes.
But by the time it airs, it'll be done. The film will be out, so definitely go check it out. It is badass thanks to
It
this
is.
man right here.
Yeah, I
It
can't
is.
wait for that one.
That's gonna be a lot of fun.
I'm really looking forward to that.
But all right, cool. Blake's turning a little bit pink in the cheeks, so let's move on to some other stuff here. So, Gary, I've actually heard that you have quite an interesting history with music yourself, and that because of Blake, you came out of retirement.
Yes, that's I quit doing it for quite a few years, and then when I got the offer to go and audition with Blake, at first I was reluctant to do it, but then when I got over there and I met Blake and I played, and it changed my whole outlook on everything. And then I remember when I got home, my wife asked me, so how'd it go? I said, it went amazing. I said, the best thing about it, it was like a family.
Yeah.
And then when I met Blake's family after that, it was just a done deal at that point. And it's just, you go through a lot of band issues with other bands, you know how it is. But this band, it was just something special. And I just knew that I want to be a part of it.
Yeah.
And so, I work hard. These guys, playing with Blake and playing with Sherry and Matt, it makes me want to be a better player.
That's the best kind of motivation
Exactly.
you can get.
And I'm very motivated to try to get up to where Blake is, because he's a great musician, and it really inspires me and pushes me to be a better musician myself.
Wow.
So,
how you feeling right
so
now?
when
Blake?
he did the Laugh Out Lounge, I playing with him live, and then when I got to see him like that, all stripped down like that, it was
Gary had front row.
yeah.
He's in some of the footage.
But he
You
just
can hear
kept,
him in some of the tracks.
he just kept staring at Blake like no, this is not the guy I'm playing for. I get to see him as a star
Well, I got
right
to
here.
know some of the meaning behind the songs that I'm playing live,
Yeah.
and then I got to know where the songs originated from and why, and so it kind of shed a whole different light on it.
So let me ask this: did you have before you knew some of this stuff about his originals? Did you have a favorite original that you like to play more than the others?
Yeah, well, C'est La Vie is a little special to me because it was he brought it in, and he had the whole song acoustically, and then he presented it to us, I believe through Facebook.
I sent what it was is I sent you guys like a
Message.
with like just the song acoustically. Then I posted like a Facebook video of me playing it,
Yeah.
and then I didn't really even say anything to the band like, hey, you guys need to like get acquainted with the song. I was just like, yeah, here's this new song that I just come up with, and
They had practice the next day.
and we had practice the next day, and I come in and they're like, hey, play that song. Matt and Gary were like, yeah, man, because I think Sherry was running a little behind that day because traffic sucks, but so we were all in there and they're like, hey, man, play that thing you come up with yesterday, and we started playing it, and Gary, had he knew the chords and everything, so he comes up with a bass line to it, and Matt's coming up with a beat to it, and I'm just looking at it, and I'm like, you guys are awesome, man. You guys came in here prepared. I didn't have to say it. Like it was one of those things where like
It just happened.
like it was a good song, so they're like, let's play it. So
Yeah.
let's figure out what we're gonna do to accentuate what you're trying to say. And let me tell you, we recorded at Nashville. Now, granted, circumstances were slightly different. Schedules kept people away from the recordings, but to be honest, I think that what came out of those sessions was super special. And I think it's because I know we're getting off track, but during the sessions, my grandma passed away.
Oh.
So like now those recordings and that holds a super, super, super strong part. So like now we've got them. We can hear them.
Her spirit was reborn in the songs, and
It
she
was
was
super
right
good.
there with us.
They're super good. They might be different than how they originally started because of the process. Sometimes when you get in the studio, you grow, things change. Personnel in the studio might change, and somebody might have an idea, and it comes out, and it's better than you ever might have thought in the first part.
Yeah. And it was.
So you're like, what?
Wow.
Yeah.
You're like,
The songs were reborn again.
When you get that magical mixture of people in the studio that just take things to the next level, you just kind of want to move in.
Yeah, dude.
It's like the best place in the world to be.
We just heard the songs that started from one level that were fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Then we got to see them reborn again in a different light at a different level. And it was so amazing just to watch like a rebirth.
Super fun.
But it was
rebirth.
also very
It's radio ready
different.
now.
Couple different players on the tracks, but a lot of similarities.
Yeah.
That they didn't know that other person, but they had no idea what the other person was
Yeah.
playing. And then in the finished product, I hear a lot of this.
Yes.
Because we all went off of your track at the
They all
listening
had the
room.
same thoughts.
The solo act, we went off of what you did because it was so good and capturing the feeling of Blake. So instead of giving them, we gave them the band versions, but then when we gave them, this with a number chart, the similarities of what his band come up with what the studio musicians
Some of it
came
was
up
very
with.
similar.
Yeah.
Well,
There was similar but more intense in Nashville. I mean, with the studio musicians.
Oh yeah. But speaking technically and with an extreme abundance of respect.
Right.
When you go into a recording studio, and this comes from personal experience in recording studios.
Yeah.
It's not like going to the gym.
No.
And your mood, what you ate for breakfast that day,
Everything
what you did the
counts.
night before, everything that's going on in your life comes out through those microphones so transparently,
It
and it
does.
can help shape those songs in such a big way. And my heart goes out to you and your family for the loss of your grandma. I'm so sorry about that. But in the sense that your grandmother's spirit was there with you.
Yeah, she
I was once told that nothing sings more purely than a broken heart.
Yeah.
Nothing sings more purely than that.
Well,
And
I tried to get, when he knew his grandma was sick, I'm like, we don't need to do that. He said, my grandma would kick my butt.
I remember you telling me that, yeah.
If she knew that I was not going to do this, she would rise up out of that bed and whoop my butt. She would. He said, if I don't do it, it's going to haunt me worse. And so he did it, and he did it well.
Well, so what we'll do at the end of this episode when I edit, Blake, if you're okay with it, I'd love to get a photo of maybe you and your grandmother or the whole family. If you'd like to post this episode in tribute to her.
Absolutely.
If you're okay with that,
that would be great.
Yeah, we would love to do that. But we'll have to share it. If you have video or anything you'd love to share with her, I'd love
came
to
into
play
the
that.
mix. There you go.
Right? That's freaking awesome. And so, but how long ago backtracking a little bit.
Yeah.
When you first auditioned with Blake, how long ago was that?
Well, about what, year and a half?
A year, yeah, about right, a little
Really?
bit over
A
a
little
year.
over a year ago.
Because you guys sound like you've been playing together for like 10 years.
See, me and Gary we really hit it off, and then once we started talking to each other and like hanging out with each other, we get along as friends. So it almost seems like we have been playing each other that long.
Kind of that kindred
It's
spirit
like
thing.
brothers.
we have a we have that brotherly spirit. We have our mindset is very similar as far as where we want to take the band and where we want to be as musicians. It ain't even about like, oh, let's get famous. It's not about that. We want to be a better musician than we were the night before.
That's right.
And
Absolutely.
that whatever becomes of that, we want to play to as many people as we possibly can. We want to get as many people invested in what we're doing on stage every night as we can, because without the people watching you, it's just rehearsal.
Yeah.
And rehearsal's fine, but like you're rehearsing so that you can be in front of people and play in front of people and let people see the fruits of your labor.
It's that flowing of energy from you out to the audience and
Yes,
back.
yeah.
A lot of musicians don't count on that energy coming
my
back,
God.
and that is the most
And that's
addictive
the
drug in the
loyalty.
world.
You
It
play
is.
better when you
They
get
have
the
that
response.
loyalty.
Yeah.
You know, when you're getting a positive response from the
Yeah.
people watching, then we play better.
Yeah.
You can
feed
completely
off of it.
fuck up a song, but if the audience is giving you energy, it's still fun.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Hobie's
The
always
energy level.
where Blake is. He's going to be with Blake.
Well, so kind of honing in a little bit on you, Gary. You talked about how playing with Blake changed your entire perspective. I mean, what was your background in music before? We don't talk about it if you don't want to.
No, he was
I've been
heavy.
in several bands throughout the years, but a lot of more grunge type metal.
Okay.
Metal, grunge, rock, stuff
Original.
like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I did original band many years ago on a lot on the heavier
They're
side.
pretty cool. I've heard it.
Oh, they're so
And
good.
so when I came and played with him, the songs are stuff that I grew up with, you know. So
Yeah.
I really attracted to the song, you know, and some of them I like to play, and some of them I don't, you know. But that just goes with the territory of what we do, you
Yeah.
know, because everybody has a voice of their opinion in the band. But a majority of everything we do, I enjoy playing everything,
Yeah.
and especially with the people.
Yeah.
You know, we learn a song, but we also put our own little spin on it. You know, sometimes it's from night to night. We do a Friday night. Sometimes
Amen
to
to that,
Saturday night
brother.
might be slightly different than it was Friday
But
night.
sometimes
you know?
it's better than
You know,
it was the night before.
There's a few songs that were, you know, me and Blake were just talking before about another song, an idea that we're thinking about possibly bringing in, where it's going to give us room to stretch it out if we want to.
Okay.
To extend it, if we will.
To another level.
Yeah, you know,
Or
me and
different.
Blake are both huge Allman Brothers fans, and
Yeah.
they were notorious for that. You
Yeah.
know, and I personally want to kind of test those waters a little bit, you know,
Yeah.
and go there and see where we can take it. Sometimes, you know,
Nice.
sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. You know,
Yeah.
and that's happened to us a couple times. So we're like, uh-oh.
And see, that's the thing with going back to these recordings, and you just brought something to my attention that I didn't really think about before. The recordings in Nashville really opened up the songs to a point where we can do that with those songs, like "C'est la vie," that extra thing we put on there.
Oh, it was so
The
beautiful.
outro.
You can do whatever. We could do something totally different. We could make it, instead of keyboards and piano, we can make it guitar. We can make it vocal. We could just have, anyway, because I'm talking about this and people haven't heard the song yet, but
Yeah.
you will. And we'll make this a companion piece to the song when it comes out.
Hey, darling, but on the end of C'est La Vie, that piano
it's
is
great.
going to blow
And
people's minds.
It was nothing that was
Planned.
It
was all
we never
written
did it like that. It just
Right
it
on the
happened.
spot.
Yeah.
It's the spirit.
And,
It's the
and
spirit
when
of
it
the studio,
happened,
man.
we were all like wondering,
Blown
man, Blake,
away.
You know, we've played that song so many times, but then when we got up there,
It all changed.
and as soon as we knew we were being recorded, everything changes.
Yeah.
You know, just like you said, everything's being picked up and everything.
Well,
it's very nerve wracking.
It takes a specific kind of studio manager to stave off that tension of it's got to be perfect. Everybody has when you first get into the studio, and it takes somebody who really has a lot of experience in the studio to be like, hey man.
Yeah. We had great
not that
management.
serious.
We had great producers. Kenny Lee was really right there with us.
Yeah.
It was a great
guiding us.
experience.
That
I'll never
Makes
forget.
me feel so good.
We
Like,
had
I
a
love to hear
five.
how good
We had a
studio experiences.
5-star studio.
It was great.
And according to the pros, we did something in 14 hours that would have took the pros 21 hours to
Yeah,
do.
we put
We
a lot of
came
work
in and
into
blew
it.
their mind. And
That's awesome.
I mean, when I say Blake and Gary and the musicians that we hired, so they turned out fantastic.
That's awesome.
It was a
I'm looking
beautiful
forward to hearing
experience.
this when it comes out.
The baby was reborn all over again.
There's the visual.
But it was, right?
Edit that one out.
Well, before we run out of time, I want to pivot on one more thing, and I don't even know where your story comes from. I've heard so many cool things about your background, and because you come from Nashville, right? You got Nashville blood in your veins.
I come from Georgia first.
Georgia first, fair enough. So
Born in
Nashville.
Georgia, raised
tell
in
me a little bit
Nashville.
about your story. Where do you come from? How did you find your way into the Blake Free Band?
The simple way?
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't need to throw
I
me
was
under the
with,
bus.
I heard, I don't got to tell you my whole
Edit
life.
this down.
No.
That's another podcast. I'm another podcast, baby.
I won't be here for that one.
Yeah. No, I'm talking about where I really came.
Yeah.
Well, when I met Blake, I actually got to watch him play a few times. And then one night, I think he was playing, I think Matt had joined the band and invited Gary to come watch him do his first gig with Blake at the Apple, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And I went and I was blown away by Blake's vocals.
But you and I had already met before.
We had met, but I was really, and I had said stuff. Yes, we
Yeah.
did. You're right. And my first words to Blake when I met him, you need to be a BMI writer. Are you signed up with BMI? That was always my thing to him, because when I heard how good he was and I heard what his ear was, I knew that he had the potential to be a star
Yeah.
from the minute I met him. And I have heard so many people in my life that say, hey, Nita, I know who you are. Can you help me out?
Yeah.
And I always say, well, you're so sweet. If I can't help you, my nice way of, you're so sweet. But when you got talent like
She said that
that,
to me a few times.
when you got talent like that, I was inspired by him.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I came. He convinced me with Gary going into the band and Matt already being into the band and Blake and I already talking. I couldn't help it. I was he's contagious.
We were
So-
already talking on that night when we went there. On the way home, we were talking about, man, that guy can really sing,
Yeah.
and
then,
he sings really good.
yeah, and then
And we were
before
saying,
you
well, I
know
like
it,
this song. Oh, I like the way he did this song.
and then what I loved the most was his originals that night when we went there. That captivated me the most, because I've heard covers and he nailed the covers, but the originals, and I wanted to be a part of that. I hadn't wanted to be a part of anything because I'm not going to put my reputation on the line without it being worth it. And this kid was totally worth it from the get-go.
Well, so if you don't mind if I ask, we don't have to go through all the details, but what is your background before that? Because you're talking about
I was
reputation.
born into the industry. I've been in the music business my whole entire life. I came from it. I've seen everything from it. You know, my dad played with Greg Allman. My dad played with Cher. He played with all those people.
Who was your dad?
Razzie Bailey. 13 number ones and
You guys need to know who
17.
Razzie
Johnny Cash, Willie Nelson.
yeah, Johnny Cash, Willie
Roy
Nelson,
Orbison.
Waylon, Willie, Roy
He played
Orbison,
with all of them.
Conway, Dolly, Loretta, anybody you can think of. There's he still has. It was 17 number ones and 30 top 10 hits.
Wow.
And now he went solo and started being independent. And he's been gone for almost 3 years, and his music's still going now.
Yeah, he even has a song where Peter Criss from Kiss is helping him sing.
Everybody at Long Black Veil with Johnny Cash, and there's a video of the ghost of everything of Johnny Cash, and he did it all. The only thing with my dad, he wouldn't sell out to the major labels. He was the only he refused to sell the rights to his music. So he could have been a gazillionaire, but it got to the point they said, well, we're going to do this stuff with your music, but we want the rights. No, I wrote that. That's my music.
Yeah,
I'm not doing that. Yeah. You can't have that.
He didn't like the picture that they wanted him to paint. He wanted to paint it the way he wanted it.
Yeah, he wanted his picture.
How they had creative control.
Oh, yeah.
He didn't
and
like
now, if the world would have been the same way it is now, it would have been okay. But back then, it wasn't okay.
Well, I talked about this on a couple of podcasts. Like, you look at how the music industry has totally changed, and it started off as kind of this, like, it really pumped up back in like the 40s and 50s with Elvis and Johnny Cash and all that stuff. And that's when labels went, we can get you, on the buses, we can get you in tours, and we're going to handle all that for you so you can focus on being an artist. And that's when the music industry became the music industry. And anybody could be a rock star. Anybody could be famous. Anybody could do this. And the labels were there to hold your hand through all that.
And well, they were also there to take your pie.
Correct.
The pieces of your pie.
Correct. But back when they first started, it wasn't
take your pie, all right.
Take your pie.
Take the whole pie.
Yeah, whole pie.
Yeah.
You get the spoon.
Yeah.
Right. But that's what I'm kind of getting at is over the decades between the 40s and 50s. Can't think you can go back further than that to like Jersey Boys and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But you come up all the way through to the 90s, and suddenly the labels have become the monster that oversees the whole thing. Mm-hmm. And especially in the 80s and 90s. Suddenly, there was a line out beyond the horizon of young talent, and if you didn't want to play ball, they'll just take the next person.
Well, my dad was a superstar before his time when it came to that because he put his foot down back then and said, you're not taking... Now they know today you don't have to let them because social media.
So
there's a lot more avenues now.
Smashing Pumpkins did this. They sued their record label and started their own record label, and that was a huge thing in the news. And then recently Taylor Swift did the same thing.
Well, Dad was inducted into Capricorn to the Hall of Fame because he had the most number one double-sided 45s.
That's awesome.
Of anybody, but even Elvis, anybody but because he wouldn't let him have the rights to his music.
Yeah.
And he's still, for that today, and if you look at musicians' eyes, they think he's a hero.
Yeah.
You look at the label side and they say, oh, well, he didn't conform to what we needed him to do.
Well,
you know what? Touche.
To chime in on that, what you just said.
Yeah.
As a musician and as a lover of music, I didn't know who that was until I met Nita. But I feel like more people should know who Razzie Bailey is, for the simple fact of, and it's not just because Nita's sitting here. I would say that if we hadn't met,
it represents.
He's very good.
Yes.
And I don't feel like he's getting his due as far as like
what he deserves.
I mean, people don't really know who that is.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like...
How can you have 17 number ones and 30 top 10 hits?
He crossed a lot of genres.
Right.
He
was in every genre.
Area. Just country.
And thank you for saying that, Blake.
That was another problem with the music industry for a long time. And part of that was because of the marketing data that the labels had. Whereas I remember when I was a kid, the dream was to write a song, a record label comes and picks you, and then you get to rock it off into stardom so long as you play ball. But part of the problem is you want to get noticed, you need to pick your genre and stay in that.
Correct.
And that was the golden rule of playing music is you pick your genre and you stay in it, and that's changed. Yeah. And another big name that's kind of proven that wrong I would say Post Malone.
Post Malone?
Yes.
He's done a lot of things across multiple genres. He just crossed into country recently, and he basically said, fuck you. I'm going to play whatever genre I want to play.
Well, that's kind of where Dad started. He actually was the first one that did all that crossover.
That's awesome.
He played with the Allman
Kid
Brothers.
Rock. He did the same thing. He was rap,
Dad
whatever.
played with
And look where
everybody.
he's at now. He's more country than way before. I mean,
And he was a crossover artist. So I don't think that today the artists like Blake or anybody, Blake especially, should be afraid to cross over to any genre
Oh, absolutely.
Because he has the doors and the ability to expand everywhere.
Yeah.
So if you want to think we're rock and roll country, if you want to think we're rock and roll blues, if you want to think we're southern rock, if you want to think we're whatever you want to
We're
think.
all of that.
We
Yeah,
are everything.
all of that.
You want us to play a gospel tune for you, then hold on to your boots.
The real
because
groundbreaking
we'll do that
artists
too.
who are the ones that create their own sound. One of the reasons Chris Stapleton is as famous as
I'm
he
glad
is.
you mentioned him.
Yeah, right.
Thank you.
One of the reasons that he is as famous as he is because he created his own sound, and everybody just goes, "Oh, he's country."
No, he's
Not
not.
really.
No, he's
Kinda.
not.
Kind of, a little
Yeah.
bit. There's a little taste of country.
There's some
in there.
steel guitar in there.
A little
Yeah.
bit.
But
He's all over the place,
Yes.
and he created his own sound. He honed in on it, and he fucking rocks it.
nails it.
Yes, he does.
Like, is he a little overplayed? Maybe, but
Hey,
he
but
fucking
you know
deserves
what?
it.
He
He
deserves
deserves it. Like
He earned it. That's
Okay.
for sure.
Tennessee whiskey is overplayed. Don't get me on that. Don't get me on that soapbox because I will die on the hill that song is overplayed, but he
What
takes
is the
it.
other one that you do too, though, so well? I'm sorry to interrupt.
Fire away.
No, not fire
Fire.
away. Either way.
Either
I
way.
won't
Okay.
love you.
Yeah,
Either way.
yeah, that's
a good one.
He nails that
I'll
shit.
be honest. I know it's a very commercialized song, but I fucking rock out to White Horse.
White Horse is
Oh,
badass,
yeah.
and I
It's
want
a
to play it with a
badass-
band.
Yeah.
I've sent it to him a couple hundred times.
He already knows it.
Yeah, it's
It's sorry. It's the
Dude,
other
I've been
two.
trying
it's
to
a
figure out
rocker.
I've been trying to
It's-
figure out the guitar part myself. Da-na-na-na-na-na-na-na. Yeah,
That
I
part's-
did that. I played it on acoustic by myself at Jesse's Open Jam
Oh, yeah.
not long ago, and it needs a lot of work.
You can edit that part.
There's a lot to be desired there. I am no
Hey.
Blake Free.
Blake
But it was
compliments
fun.
Chris Stapleton every time he lets the word come out of his mouth.
yeah,
I mean,
he covers Chris.
He covers
Stapleton
Chris
very
so well.
Well, he frequents a guitar store in Auburndale and
Yes, sir.
shows up every now and again.
Yes,
so I'm
sir.
hoping he shows up sometime we get him on the show.
That would
Looking
be-
at you, Chris.
Peace,
we're
Chris.
fans of your music.
Yeah.
We respect you, bud. We love what you're doing.
We'll send it to him. Let's do it.
Right? Let's do it. But at the end of the day, guys, you guys really are such awesome people. You're great musicians. This is a tribute to you, Blake, and this is also kind of a tribute to your family because you see. I've been in a lot of bands, not a lot. You've probably been in more bands than I have, but in the bands that I have been in and or seen, the ones that do really well are the ones that have that family atmosphere. The ones that are there because it's fun. The ones that tend to treat it like a business and there's someone in charge and that burns people out really quickly.
Yes, it does.
But even the family vibe, it's
That's me. I'm sorry.
Well, the thing is,
with respect. Even in the
I
family,
put Nita,
someone
Nita,
Did I walk into something here?
Nita, Nita's she's the bulldog on the long leash.
Yeah.
Well, so what I was about to clarify
Yeah.
is with respect, even in the family dynamic, somebody does have to take charge.
Somebody
you can't
has
just have a bunch
to-
of people
And it's
gathering.
me.
You have to have somebody that keeps the horses in line, that leads from the front, that does all that
I'm the
stuff.
one that's gonna keep going, and if I hurt somebody's feelings, I'm sorry. But my goal and my love is Blake Free, and I want Blake Free to succeed.
Sorry, Gary.
So he knows that. He knows that because he's the same way.
I couldn't resist.
No,
I'm sorry.
yeah, he's the same way, baby. We're soldiers for Blake Free. So
I believe in Blake.
we believe in him. So if we have to,
He's got all the
maybe
ingredients.
I'm not gonna ask permission. I'm just gonna try to get you to follow me where I'm going already.
But my point is that when you find that right balance where there is leadership, there is structure, but there's that familial vibe where
Yeah.
everybody's at the dinner table and nobody is left out. Everybody
yes.
eats.
No, we're all
When you
together.
have that kind of family vibe, and I mean that in every sense.
Yeah,
we are.
everybody eats. Everybody's at the table. but you have that structure and leadership at the same time. That's the magic balance, right? And
And it
you
is.
find the only bands you really find that in are the people that come from good, strong families.
And they have God in their heart.
And they have God in their heart.
And they
when
pray
when
when they have God in their heart, and they believe in prayer, and it all comes
It all
down
starts
to
at home, man. It all
does.
starts at
It
home.
does.
That's what Laurel's saying, and
Yeah.
you know what? I did come up in a very big family, some of it, parts of the family are dysfunctional, but we all still love each other. We all still care about each other, and I've always brought that sensibility into the band. Everybody's got their own shit going on when we're all staged, but when we're together and when we're in the room together, when we're playing or even when we're just sitting around shooting the shit like we're doing right now, we're all family. We're here. None of that other stuff needs to matter. Nothing that was said before, and if something was said between us, and there was a discourse, we squash it, and then we try to move on because we don't have time to be sitting around mad at each other.
Life's too
But
short.
on that note, I want to share a killer story because the last time that Blake and Melissa, when they got engaged that weekend, and Nan, we all went to Gaba, and we're sitting there, and Rex, my friend Rex Dooley from the Big House, he is Mr. Macon, as we call him. We're having breakfast, and we sit there, and I said, Blake, will you say a prayer? And we all held hands, and he said a prayer, and this is not something, Rex believes he lives alone. He's not used to having a family like this. I could see the chills on his arm while Blake was saying the prayer. When he was done, and he looked up and he goes, oh my gosh. I said, what? He goes, no wonder everything is blessing every step that y'all take, because you don't only have the best talent, but you got Jesus and you got God. He said, man, it's contagious. I said, I told you, it's contagious. You can't help but want to be a part of it.
I've met a lot of people out in the community, you for one, all through being with Blake. Coming into it definitely was a blessing.
Yeah.
And you're a blessing.
Met a lot of
thank
good
you.
musicians in Polk County. Played with a lot of them.
Nothing ever feels like
try
this.
to get out and
Everything
support
is
them as well.
happening for a reason, even you.
Everything.
Everything.
Oh, absolutely. It's
Especially you, but everything.
best advice I ever got. Keep what you love for yourself. Do something you enjoy for a career. And if it ain't fun, it ain't worth it.
It's true.
Yeah,
We have so much fun.
Yeah. If it ain't fun, it ain't worth it. And you guys have a lot of fun. Yeah, but
Even if it's innocent fun, we have fun. Yeah.
You can tell y'all are like band siblings. Like, not that y'all like fight or anything, but you can tell it's like, you just got my
I'm the
nerves
one.
today. And I'm like, yeah. But then the next night you guys are like hugging it out. I'm like, yeah, dude, that's a
do
fucking
have-
family.
We do
Well,
have
they're a
disagreements,
non-drinking band.
But when we get on stage, we're a unit.
Oh yeah. And if you didn't have disagreements, I'd say there's
We
something
don't
wrong with
bring
you.
that. We don't bring that to the party.
They're a non-drinking band, too,
at
when
all.
they perform, which you don't get that. That's what makes my job so easy booking them, because they give more music, a better performance, and they're not the ones you're not going to have band drama over alcohol.
No.
If you have band drama, it's going to be over issues, but not that one.
Yeah.
And that's the worst one, because I have worked with so many bands where like, oh God, please, are they going to make it to the last set? Please. And these guys, you never have to worry about that. If there is a bar tab, I get it. They don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll make it to the last set.
And
But
then
we might not make it to the next gig.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
No, you're right. When they're done, if they want to party then, but that's how professional they are. They wait till they're done, and then when we leave there, you never know
I'm
what's
just
up.
kidding. I ain't never no-showed a gig in my life.
No, but you still get to have fun every
Not
now
on
and then.
purpose, anyway.
Yeah.
There you go.
You only do it once in a month, fun time, but like really party.
Usually if I've no-showed, it wasn't due to that kind of thing. It was due to the fact that, like, either didn't put it in the calendar correctly, or my phone malfunctioned, and like, cause it happens with technology.
Yes.
You put
It
stuff
happens.
in, you put stuff in, and or you put stuff in here and you don't do it here. Or this,
Or we
vice
double
versa.
book the same
Vice
day.
versa.
Or you accidentally hit the wrong date or the wrong month.
Yeah, or we double
it
book the
happens
same
to me
day.
all the time.
I'm laying. Listen, I'll tell you a story. I'm laying in bed, and I get a text on my phone from a venue owner, and she goes,
Where are you?
"Where are you?" And I'm like,
I'm in
do
bed.
you really want to know where I am?
You don't want to know. I'm
'Cause I'm in
BD.
bed.
Careful what you
I'm
ask
in
for.
bed.
I'm BD.
She goes,
We
"Well,
won't even say it.
And then she just sends me the text of us corresponding about this date, and I'm like, oh my god. why? How did this happen? And you're mad at yourself. You're mad. You're
embarrassed.
You're embarrassed, and you're like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. You know, like, I don't know what happened, and you don't know.
That's why I told him, put your solo gigs and all your gigs on one calendar so I can take care of that for you.
Everybody, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, like, I've even got Melissa doing it now. I'll tell her the dates just so Melissa, my fiance, I tell her my dates just so she puts them in her, just in case I don't put them in mine in that particular.
You have been putting your
Melissa's a
solo
sweetheart,
gigs
too.
in,
She
right?
She does a lot to help out.
You got to put those solo gigs in.
Dude, I'm telling you, I learned that way too. I have the Alexa smart things in my house. And I've got multiple calendars on my phone, and I have a wife. And I'm like, we're going to put it in my phone.
We're good.
Alexa's going to set an alert for me, and my wife knows. I got all 3 boxes checked.
Listen, if
I'm not missing this.
If all 3 of those fail, then you just messed up, man.
Yeah.
I mean,
If all 3 of those fail, God himself didn't want me to go to it. There's a reason.
You're way ahead of us. We don't get to all 3 checks. We're like, check one.
Either that or the government's been messing in my stuff too much.
Wait a minute. I did do. No, wait. No, put it on the whole calendar for everybody.
There we go.
Yeah.
Well, listen, we are going to be having a lot of fun in the coming year. We've got a lot of things coming up.
Yes,
I'd love to
we do.
involve you guys in a lot of it too. Well, hopefully we'll get to see you guys a lot more.
And our December the 29th video release party is going to be killer.
Heck yeah. Well, this will come out after that, but
It's going to be good.
It'll still be cool. You guys better go check out the film, check out the album, buy it on iTunes, and
buy it.
Buy it.
Buy it.
Show support, man. Like we say this a lot. I had a clip where we talked about how one of the hardest things is people will support you to your face. And they'll tell you, you're awesome, we'll support you. But it's so hard to get people to come out to bat and pay for a ticket or download something or buy something. And it's easy to just go, I don't want to spend $5 or $10 or whatever it is. It's easy to say that. But what you don't realize is that when you're doing that, you're actually supporting the people you care about.
Yeah.
You're paying them, but you're giving them the gift and the blessing to do this thing that they are passionate about and that they're good at. And if you want to support somebody, show up. Come out to a show. Even if it's not a paid show, come out to a show. Like, just come show up.
Amen.
And that's
the thing
best
is, you never know, like, you never know, and I'm not talking about me because whatever, but like you come out and see a band play, and like a year later, that band could be on the radio or on some viral thing or whatever, and you're like, well, dang, dude, I saw that band at this place like a year before that, and they were great then, but holy crap, I'm glad I got to see them before. Like, I knew the people love I Knew You When. They love that. And they people thrive on that. Like, I remember my grandpa telling me a story. He saw Tom Petty in the Heartbreakers in Gainesville before they were Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. They were, just a totally different thing, and it was just in some little dive bar, and he loves that story because it's like, that you saw the dude before he was the dude. So,
you saw everything grow into it. Yeah.
So it's like these bands, and Central Florida specifically is a great breeding ground for such great music. There's so many great talents. We've talked about it before on the podcast. I'm sure it's been talked about numerous times. There's so many different bands. So you're doing yourself a disservice. And okay, you don't go out to bars. I don't like hanging out in bars. A lot of these bands play these restaurants where you can take your kids and you can take your wife and you can have a.
My kids go to the shows.
Yes,
and they do.
Yes, they do. You can take your kids. You can take your wife. As far as our band's concerned, you don't have to worry about cussing and suggestive things and all that. If anything's suggestive, it's an innuendo, and the kids ain't gonna understand what you're talking about.
Right.
No worse than Disney movies.
The Blake,
but you're not gonna
say that. I'm not sure if I can say that. I'll find out.
We love you, Disney.
The Blake Free Band's going to Ormond Beach to Saints and Sinners, and the Blake Free Band's going to Macon, Georgia. And they're moving on up, and I think y'all should go with us.
Yeah. Any big plans for next year?
Lots of big plans for next year.
Anything you can announce yet?
Well, like Nita was saying, we're going out of state. We're gonna go play in Macon on January the 11th.
And when we lock in that gig on the 11th, then we'll have 4 solid weekends booked in Macon. After that, every weekend, we're going to go from one venue to the next in
And
Macon.
something with Capricorn.
And Capricorn people are going to be there.
Cool.
Yeah.
Tim Griggs from
Shit, I'm
Capricorn.
not gonna get to sign you guys, Melly, but you're gonna get picked up before I get the chance.
You know what? You'll be cool though.
There you go.
I already talked. You should just go and Macon and join and check it out.
I would love to.
You should come check it
I'd love
out.
to. We'll go up to Atlanta too if you guys got the time.
They
I got
say
some friends
they
up
say
there.
we're having sound there, but just in case we might need
Yeah.
you.
You never
We
know.
could use a really good sound guy.
Yeah, because you're an awesome
I will
sound
happily
man.
come. I will happily. I got lots of friends up in Atlanta, Georgia area. I'd love to come up, even just for the excuse to go visit all my friends and see you guys play.
You should. I'm a Georgia girl, and you know what? The Blake Free Band is so lucky to have him doing sound for us.
Okay, total pivot here. I just want to get this one last thing in before we end the show tonight. As a Georgia girl, I spent many years in Georgia. I'm not a true
Okay.
Georgian because I wasn't born there. I only
Okay.
spent about 10 years there, but.
His accent comes out every now and then.
A little bit, especially we go fishing. It comes out. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
fishing.
You wanna go fishing, bro?
Yeah, I haven't been fishing in a while, but
Yeah, me neither.
too damn cold now. Right. So I'm gonna say something. My wife is born and raised Floridian, born and raised right here in Central Florida. Okay.
All right.
I'm gonna say something that she hates, and she's gonna hate me for saying this on camera. Florida, once you get south of Gainesville, it ain't the South anymore.
No, you got to go up south, baby.
Yeah.
You go up
You go
south
up south.
because
Hey, listen.
there's so many different. Now let me ask. Florida, there's only a
I was
few.
hoping for this. I was hoping for
There's
this.
only because they're both born and raised Florida boys.
Yeah.
And I'm a Georgia girl, but when you don't have the people that were born and raised here, and because Florida's like a transient state in a
It
lot
is.
of places.
It is.
But in Georgia, we all from Georgia, we either from Tech or we from Dogs.
Yep.
And that's the way it is. So if you want to get true country,
Dogs or tech?
Dogs.
Dogs. How about them dogs?
Dogs.
Wait, how about that last game?
Oh my God. 8 overtimes
Oh, God, don't get me to say
and 2 points, brother.
Look,
Dude.
just
So
throw a
you
little
got to
gas
go
on
up
the fire.
south, baby.
Just throw a little bit of gas
We
on the
should write
fire.
a song. We should going up south.
Going up south. I'll write that.
I'm
with
going up south.
you. Yeah, if you clap like this, you ain't south.
Now,
I just started a whole fight. I just started a whole fight.
said Gainesville.
That's true. I did.
Yeah,
I said.
yeah.
I
You
did.
said South again.
I did say that. I did say that. I will walk that back. I did
Hey,
say
look.
that. I would say that. But look,
Dog.
if you live in an
See
area,
it? Look.
if you live in an area where for 6 months out of the year your local accent sounds like New York, like you're coming down is
You
hot.
ain't from the South.
It ain't the
Are you
South.
from Jersey?
Yeah, like
No.
if you
No.
spend half the year surrounded by
Wait.
like boy, this is a lot warmer than it is back home.
Yeah,
like
that's right.
freaking
No.
New York, New
You
Jersey
ain't not no
accents. You ain't the
South.
South.
No, it ain't no South.
You're in New Jersey's retirement village.
Yeah.
Hey, listen here.
That's a
Listen.
snowbird.
Hold on.
Gotta go up south,
Hold on.
baby. I'm going
Listen,
up
as
south.
somebody who is raised here, born here, raised here, I will
You
say
open the
that I will
worms.
probably end up in Georgia or Tennessee
There you go.
because of what you just said about the transplants.
That's
Listen, I love you. Keep tipping me. But
Florida is a transient state. You two may be the only 2 left that are born here.
There is a lot of Southern culture here.
Yeah.
And historically, Florida was a part of the South. I get that.
But not anymore.
But it ain't like Florida itself isn't Southern culture. There
No.
is Southern culture here.
Yeah, but it's
But
not
to be
like
fair, you can find Southern culture in California if you look hard enough.
Yeah, but it's not like it was, like it's supposed to be. Like here, you got to go way out anymore, and it don't exist that much, and everything's turning into the
gotta
concrete
search.
jungle.
The strongest
You
arguments.
get 10% of real Florida.
The strongest arguments
Go
that
up
I've ever
south,
heard.
baby.
The
That's why you like
the
Macon. Give me
strongest
some
arguments
skin.
to
Come
Florida
on.
being a part of the South that I've heard. The strongest arguments, and these are the only ones that I'm like, okay. 2 things. Number 1, SEC teams. Okay, SEC teams.
They're changing all the rules, and it's not making sense.
I know that's steeped in controversy, so I'm going to stop that point right there. The second is that you can go to every single restaurant and get sweet tea.
Yes,
That's
sir.
that's the mark of the South. I will give Florida that. You can
That's
go to
their
any restaurant
moonshine.
And
As
good
far as
directions.
moonshine.
Yeah, that's true.
That's
That's the
fine.
counter argument. Is like you can go anywhere in Georgia and get some moonshine. That's how you know you're in the
But
South.
you get the best tea and the moonshine in Georgia.
Yeah,
Both.
moonshine and tea.
Apple pie.
Some blackberry moonshine.
And
Shit,
the best
I'd go for
tea
some.
too. You get sweet tea and it's sweet tea.
Well, now that I've ended this whole show on controversy,
Yeah.
this will explode in the comments below. Probably most of
Hey.
it will be my wife. I love you, honey.
Hey, listen. Sometimes bad press is good press.
There's no such thing as bad
Hey,
press.
Yeah.
and I didn't even know Gary and I were going to be part of this, but I'm glad we got to.
We're so
Love
glad
y'all.
to have you guys.
Love y'all.
Blake, it was wonderful
I
having
appreciate
you
the
back. We're
invite.
looking forward to everything coming from you in the future. I'm glad
Yes,
to be.
sir.
I'm here to be a part of it as much as we possibly can.
Absolutely.
Nita, Gary, thank you so much for joining us and sharing your stories. This has been a lot of fun. Let's
Thank you
go
for having
watch
me.
that fire die and get home and go to sleep and warm.
You know
the
what?
fuck up.
Thank you for
Sounds
having
great.
us. We love you.
Oh, I love you too, Mama.
Damn, that was perfect.
Back to two.
That was
And
perfect.
you were nervous.